So using AI to drive decarbonisation, increase resilience in buildings, we have Aymeric from the MD from Equans Digital.
Good afternoon, everyone. The advantage of coming in the afternoon is actually a lot of ground has already been covered. At the same time, I think there's been quite a spectrum of opinions, maybe on some of the same topics. So, people focused, yes. Data and good data, yes. The real cases of AI and it's been there for a while in different forms, whether that was big data, IoT, ML, you name it. Yes. But let's maybe take a slightly different angle to it. And specifically today, we'd like to talk about using AI to drive decarbonisation and increase resiliences in buildings. Sorry, I've got a little bit of a sore throat. So why driving decarbonisation and increasing building resilience? Well, let's look at the environmental and climate imperative. What you can see on this slide is the combination of before and after satellite images, which shows a view of homes near Fairhawks Avenue in California, and that was on 6th of January, and then with the fires on the 8th of January. So while the fires were burning. So this has been actually created by using geospatial technologies, and by the way, using AI and AI-driven analytics. But what does this reveal is the scale of destructions. The scale of destructions from the fires in LA at the beginning of this year. Not only the destructions in terms of buildings, but also at least 17 deaths were recorded into the Eaton fires and 12 in the Palisades, with more than 10,000 structures destroyed and at least 180,000 residents that were evacuated. So then you listen again the news that was on Monday, following the warm temperatures of the weekend, that 10 flood warnings and 86 alerts were in place on Monday in the West Countries and in Wales. And we only need to go back to November to the devastating effects of the storm Bert to see that this was already a region that was affected with hundreds of homes and businesses destroyed. So moving on then to another bit of context as well, and slightly different lengths to the topic of discussion today. Regulatory compliance. So again, there's different aspects here. There's the compliance around data. But maybe let's look at the photo we've got here in terms of dust, vibration, noise compliance as well. So whilst increasing building and infrastructure resilience is necessary to mitigate those risks, the environmental regulatory compliance and framework is also increasing. There are strict compliance requirements in buildings, constructions, and on open sites. And in the UK, this starts from the control of the Pollution Act, NPSC, the statement of the noise policy statement for England, as well as building standard regulations. Economic drivers and operational performance. So at a time where budgets are constrained, and also that the business are looking to do effectively more with less, operational performance of buildings and estate is key. So alongside British net zero economy, or alongside rather. That's the CBI, the Confederation of British Industry, just announced this week that as a comparison, that effectively the net zero sector is growing 3 times more faster than the overall UK economy. There was a point earlier in terms of the productivity as well, and in the UK economy. And whilst the UK economy has been criticised for being concentrated in London and in the southeast of England, and for the low productivity growth, in contrast, the CBI report found that the net zero economy is wider distributed around the UK. And this is supported by largest increases of jobs in those regions, and an example of that is net zero jobs in Scotland with 20% increase since 2022. And also that those jobs are 38% higher in productivity in the UK on average. So where are we with AI in 2025? It seems that there isn't a conversation really which doesn't include AI. But we only need to again go back to the news and Trump today's announcements, and we can see the massive investments that are being done. And this is just only accelerating. So it's $500 billion project to be funded jointly by OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank. And clearly, when you've got those names and those mastodons, then you can't turn your head. Also, the constructions of a high-tech data center, and that's true as well. And that goes along with hundreds and thousands of jobs. Data centers, projections estimate that $100 trillion in US data centers investments over the 5 years. But the key here is on the global level that technology is not the pursuit. Again, this is something that was said earlier. I think we are moving now to not only this accelerated investment, but not just AI for the sake of AI. Actually, this is now really coming into politics. It is really an investment at a national level. UK is a good example of that recently as well. And this is really now treated as an emergency, not only as well play a part in terms of world politics with the rise of China. And then all of that, we've got the events of DeepSeek. Which is really quite disruptive and an interesting actually case to see how actually fragile this is. When you've got hundreds and billions of pounds of dollars made investment in data centers like this, and actually the development costs here based on open source LLM go from 6 million to 200 million. So who are we? Equans Digital. So you probably have heard Equans before as a leading facilities management providers, as well as you probably have heard about energy solutions. But Equans Digital is really part of those integrated offers with the facilities management. And so here are some of those activities that we cover, and you can see that as part of that technology innovations and digital transformations in empowering those transitions, we are looking at data management and integrative services leveraging AI. So what are we trying to solve? So these are some of the challenges, maybe again, some of that we touched upon. The diversity of the building stock, I think, is worth stopping and pausing there. Some of our customers are on the, for example, estates of defense, justice, or schools and universities, and you can see there's quite a variety there in terms of building stock from Victoria times to much more modern buildings. But at the estate level, that certainly provides a challenge for our customers. Certainly the technology is present, and there's the variety of of technology deployments at different level of maturity. But what is clear is that there's not one unique solution, but there's and it's very fragmented market. Difficulty to access data? Absolutely. The data is there. Whether that actually we can collect it and do something useful with it, well, that's the question. So yeah, absolutely. I think this is really at the foundation of the challenge experience. We talked about maintenance, but actually the maintenance is what we provide as a service. But the challenge that we are really addressing here is those repetitive tasks and that human capital attached to that again. So yes, the vast amount of data, and that's just going to get worse. But also, again, what do we do with the data, and how we can use that to make better decisions in our day-to-day operations, but also for the business. So this is our smarter service offering, and so it started from the left. Again, very easily simple data flow effectively, as well as actions. We connect, we monitor, and we optimize. We collect data, and then we do something useful with it. And with that, when we start building capabilities, so in terms of connection, yes, we would be deploying some technologies. That could be some BMS controllers and systems, as well. That could be some IoT technologies and sensors. But ultimately, it's really that connectivity piece, which is also quite varied depending on where this is applied and depending on our customers. Very different when you're operating on an RF base with radio networks, which is all very controlled, and or if you're obviously in a commercial building. But also the aspects of consultancy that goes with that. And again, that's depending on the customer case. In terms of the monitor, really at the heart of that is our smarter platform. And this is really at a higher level of that data, that unique data point, where that connection is made across the different and the variety of the systems. And with the cloud portal, which allows that entry to the customers. And from an optimization, and that's where really we're going up in value, we are looking at really, again, leveraging the human capital and expertise of our engineering teams, as well as the operational expertise. And we build, we install BMS, we deploy those technology, we understand the data that is behind it, we understand what the data that's supporting an issue and how it functions. And that's where we are able to really optimize that data and really understand what value we can bring from that. And so from those capabilities, these are the type of services that we provide. So from remote monitoring at the foundation, both of the maintenance aspect and really moving from plan to reactive, and to more down the line in terms of prescriptive or proactive maintenance. The energy management points, where we have some already existing case, which I'll go through, as well as some critical asset monitoring and base maintenance infrastructure monitoring. So let's start with the energy management. So this is today, and then forward-looking in terms of the AI elements. Today we are able to really collect all of this data from the variety of control systems and BMS, various completely agnostic in terms of technology, and so we are able to also do that on a building level or at an estate level. We are able to operate element of automation and control, and then from that, then really looking forward is starting to collaborate, to corroborate those data sets with others like CAFM data, like seasonality, and also the Gen AI, which has been covered extensively today. In terms of critical asset monitoring and condition-based maintenance, here we are really looking at, again, addressing critical assets. So we've got a real case example of an hospital where by really deploying, again, some very light touch technology, we are able to really understand how that AHU is functioning, how those control systems which are critical to a lab or to a operating room attached to the operating room is functioning. And so working with the customers, we are able to do fault detection and diagnostics, as well as to start modeling that asset behavior. We understand the data, we know how that system is working, and we are able to apply rule sets, rule-based automations as well. Then going to infrastructure and monitoring, so slightly adjacent to maybe the topics for today, but really looking more in terms of the certainly the wider environment of buildings and constructions as well, where we are able to, for example, through the monitoring of air quality, vibration, noise, we are able to mitigate those environmental and regulatory risks and strengthen the resilience of ultimately the building and the environment. Again, some quite interesting innovation that, from that looking forward as well in terms of models to what was, I think there was some aspect of reference as well earlier in terms of deep learning. The LSTM model as well is another one. So what is the future journey of AI and FM? I think, interestingly, I picked the maintenance aspect, and that's the left-hand side. I do think that's where there's a lot of value, and it's getting the basics right again, but I think we can do it slightly better than we are doing it even today. And it's starting to look at some of the assets that we have and really starting to apply that human capital, that human expertise. We know the asset life, we know we can improve that. We understand those those systems and those assets, and we are able to really preempt that more and more. So I think that's really a key one. Gen AI, yes, there will be, I think, much more use to that, and that will come in terms of the applications. I think in terms of the solutions, that certainly has a part to play. But again, and here maybe is my less cautiously optimistic view, and maybe my more negative view, I would say. I think that there's a lot to do to that respect in terms of governance, data validation, and test model. But also we've talked about training, and I voluntarily put model and people training together. There is definitely the training of the models that we use and the LLMs and the data supportive those Gen AI. But there's also the people training element. For example, at Equans Digital, we launched a digital academy, and with our partner Multiverse, we are upskilling our data, our force, our frontline staff with that data skill sets and upskills and training. And so, yeah, I very much see the two together, but that's certainly, I think, a journey, and I think there was a good point just earlier in terms of, yes, the technology can support the human, but the human can also train the technology. So in summary, I think AI has a part to play in creating that additional value from what we already do well today, and ultimately bringing bigger impact, whether that is in an infrastructure environment, but it's in that flow of ultimately collecting the data, good data hopefully, but there's the data ingestion and data formatting to make sure that is a good data, and then is starting to really create some value out of that, and through analytics, through machine learning, through AI, absolutely, to really starting to support the human in the decisions they are making every day in our operations. And hopefully, with all of that, then we will create a much more sustainable future. We will drive decarbonisation, and we will increase resilience of buildings. In terms of decarbonisation, we talked as well earlier about the impact that data centers are, and yes, we can see that there's a large investment of data centers. So I think at Equans Digital, certainly we're looking to make sure that we are right-sizing our application and our use of data centers. That's the first element, and also making sure that we are not oversizing those usage, and so that they are ready to scale. And I think some of that is by design and by architecture. But yeah, it's a very important point, and it goes also from low energy usage of low energy, high computer design chips to water cooling effective solutions. But I think all of that has a part to play in that green future. But yes, I think it's not taking away on one hand to put back on the other. So yeah, absolutely, this is something that is really important. Thank you.